Some US cities feel like they hit the pause button somewhere around 1987 and just never pressed play again. No chaos, no noise, no inflation-induced panic attacks, just calm neighborhoods, safe streets, real communities, and homes that don't cost your entire bloodstream. While America keeps speeding up, these places kept something rare, peace that isn't overpriced. Before one of these cities hits TikTok and doubles in price, hit that like button and subscribe. It's cheaper than moving twice, because today we're counting down 10 US cities that genuinely feel like the 1980s again. Calm, safe, affordable, and quietly winning. Let's break it down. Number 10. Westminster, Colorado. Westminster is the calm, almost too perfect suburb that looks like someone built it as a demo version of peaceful living. It's tucked neatly between Denver and Boulder, but you'd never know it, because the chaos of both cities never seems to leak in. Crime? Low enough that your biggest worry is a raccoon stealing your bird feeder. Affordability? Shockingly solid for being in Colorado's hottest metro corridor. Median home price lands around $500K, $530K, which in Denver speak might as well be a clearance sale. But the real magic is balance. You get mountain views without mountain prices. You get community parks, clean neighborhoods, and the kind of suburban comfort that feels strangely nostalgic. And the pace? Let's just say nobody here is sprinting anywhere unless they're late for a pickleball match. Westminster's schools are strong, income's rising, and the infrastructure feels maintained, like people actually care. Is it exciting? Not even a little. But if you're into safety, calm, and neighborhoods that look like background shots from a 1987 sitcom, Westminster hits the vibe perfectly. Just don't expect Denver-level nightlife. Your entertainment here is hiking, farmers markets, and pretending you understand craft beer. And honestly, that's kind of the charm. Number 9. Surprise, Arizona. Surprise isn't just the name. It's the reaction people have when they realize southern Arizona still has places that are calm, safe, and affordable. Where Phoenix feels like a furnace with traffic lights, Surprise feels like the peaceful desert town your grandparents would have retired to, but with better Wi-Fi. Median home price? Around $415K, $450K. Rent? Roughly $1,600, $1,800. Safety? Consistently in the top tier for mid-sized US cities. And the lifestyle? Very drive a golf cart at 8 a.m. and drink iced tea by noon. Energy. Surprise also has one of the fastest growing senior communities in Arizona, and yet somehow manages to stay peaceful. The neighborhoods are clean, the streets wide, and the community centers look like they were built yesterday. But here's the real reason Surprise feels like the 80s. It's quiet, predictable, friendly. People actually talk to each other in grocery aisles. Nobody is in a rush unless they forgot sunscreen. Of course, you still have Arizona's signature drama, heat that feels like it's trying to negotiate your life insurance rates, and dust storms that arrive like uninvited relatives. But if you want calm, plus affordability, plus sunshine, it's hard to beat. Number 8. Thornton, Colorado. Thornton is what you get when you take Denver energy, remove the stress, lower the housing price, and sprinkle in suburban peace like Parmesan. It's one of the fastest growing suburbs in the entire state, but still feels surprisingly calm. Median home price sits around $470K, $500K, and rent averages $1,700, $1,900. Safety scores? Among the strongest in the region. Schools? Steadily improving. Commuting? Possible, though you will question your sanity on I-25 at least twice a month. Thornton's secret sauce is space, wide roads, open parks, neighborhoods built with actual breathing room instead of stacking houses like Jenga blocks. People move here for affordability, but stay because everything feels stable. The grocery stores aren't chaotic. The parks aren't overcrowded. And the biggest scandal in most neighborhoods is someone forgetting trash day. But here's the catch. You're close enough to Denver to feel the influence, but far enough where you can pretend you're not part of the madness. And in 2025, that's basically a luxury. Thornton may not be glamorous, but it's safe, calm, and affordable. And that's the 80s energy people are chasing. Number 7. Arvada, Colorado. Arvada is what happens when a historic town refuses to grow up too fast. You get old-school charm mixed with suburban comfort, and somehow it all works. The neighborhoods feel established, mature trees, older ranch homes, parks with actual shade. All the things new cities forget about. Median home price comes in around $550K, rents around $1,802,000, and the crime rate stays lower than most surrounding metros. Arvada's Old Town is the star, calm, walkable, cute, in a way that almost feels illegal for a Denver suburb. People stroll, not rush. Shops close at normal human hours, and the whole district has that retro, relaxed energy you don't find in overdeveloped cities. The schools, excellent. The community vibe, very 80s. Local festivals, farmers markets, quiet evenings, and families who've lived in the same house for 30 years. But let's be real. Arvada traffic can be a mild punishment during rush hour, and some parts of the city are aging faster than others. But overall, it's safe, quiet, walkable, and comfortable. A legit throwback wrapped in a modern suburb. Number 6. Joliet, Illinois. Joliet is the comeback kid, a city that once struggled, quietly rebuilt itself, and now offers some of the best affordability to safety ratios outside Chicago. Before you say, wait, Chicago's suburbs are crazy, hear this out. Joliet is not the same. Joliet people joked about 15 years ago. Median home price? Around $260K, $300K. And yes, that's for a house, not a shoebox. Rent? Roughly $2,400, $2,600. Safety? Depends on the neighborhood, but the good areas are genuinely calm, clean, and family-friendly. Schools? Steadily improving, with some districts outperforming state averages. The vibe? Surprisingly old school. Joliet has that 1980s Midwest energy. Quiet residential streets, neighbor cookouts, Friday night football games, and people who still mow their lawns aggressively. It's the kind of city where life feels normal again, where mortgages aren't horror stories and neighborhoods actually feel like communities. Is it perfect? No. Some areas still need work. Chicago's influence is always there in the background, and the winters will absolutely test your life choices. But if you pick the right part of Joliet, you get calm, affordability, and a throwback lifestyle that feels refreshingly simple. Number 5. Roswell, Georgia. Roswell is the kind of place where time moves slow enough for you to actually notice your life happening. Not boring slow, peaceful slow. Think tree-lined streets, neighbors who wave, downtown shops that still look like they belong on a 1980s postcard, and weekend strolls where the loudest thing is a kid dropping an ice cream cone. Median home price hovers around $560,000, higher than the national average but shockingly reasonable given the lifestyle. Renting? Expect around $1,900 to $2,000 depending on neighborhood and amenities. Crime dramatically lower than most major cities. Schools easily in the top tier for Georgia. And the vibe? Pure comfort. Roswell gives you the best of Metro Atlanta without the Metro Atlanta energy. People choose this place for safety and convenience, but they stay because the pace is blissfully predictable. Shops that close at normal hours, parks that still feel like parks, not mini-festivals, and roads where people actually follow speed limits. Well, mostly. But here's the part. Nobody tells you. Roswell is calm because it protects its calm. Zoning laws keep the city feeling suburban, green, and human-sized. You're not getting surprise skyscrapers next to your backyard. You're getting miles of trails, quiet subdivisions, and urban design that feels stuck, in a good way, in simpler times. But no city is perfect. Roswell traffic? On some days it moves slower than dial-up internet. Saturday brunch lines? They'll test your faith. And don't even think about parking downtown during festivals unless you enjoy spiritual challenges. Still, if you want a city that feels like growing up in the late 80s, safe, warm, predictable, and quietly pretty, Roswell delivers. It's not flashy. It's not booming. It's just right. And if Roswell feels like a peaceful throwback, wait until you see the next city, a place that feels like the 80s, but with the convenience of 2025. Number 4, Overland Park, Kansas. Overland Park is what happens when a suburb looks at the chaos of modern cities and says, "No thanks, we're good." This place is calm, clean, and almost suspiciously well organized. A city so safe it feels like background noise. The good kind. The kind where kids still ride bikes, grocery carts don't need anti-theft wheels, and your biggest danger is a soccer mom reversing too confidently in a parking lot. Median home price? Around $430,000. Median rent? Roughly $1,100 Crime rate? Nearly 40% below the national average. Schools? Top tier. Like, genuinely some of the best in the Midwest. But here's the underrated magic. Overland Park is reliable. Not exciting, not edgy, not Instagrammable. Just reliable. Like the VHS player your parents refuse to throw out because it still works. The economy is stable. Healthcare access is excellent. Infrastructure doesn't feel like an afterthought. And community life. Very 80s coded. Youth sports, quiet cul-de-sacs, polite block conversations, and parks that look like they were designed in an era when kids actually played outside. But don't get it twisted. Overland Park does have modern life problems. The property taxes will make you squint. The winters? A little disrespectful. And the drivers? Let's just say too many people here trust God more than their turn signals. Still, if safety plus affordability plus stability is your formula, this city sticks the landing effortlessly. And if you think Overland Park is calm, the next city will absolutely shock you. Because it's one of the fastest growing places in America, yet somehow still feels like a peaceful neighborhood from 1988. Number 3. Fishers, Indiana. Fishers is the kind of city where everything feels new, clean, organized, and, weirdly, peaceful. It's arguably one of the most well-run suburbs in the entire Midwest, and it shows. Median home price sits around $430,000. Rent averages $1,500 to $1,650. Violent crime rate? One of the lowest in Indiana. Schools? Phenomenal. Amenities? Plenty, but not chaotic. Fishers grew fast, but stayed grounded. It didn't turn into a mini downtown war zone. It turned into a polished, highly functional suburb that feels like the 80s, but with fiber internet and better restaurants. You get actual community events. You get neighbors who talk to each other. You get parks and greenways that seem to stretch forever. And you get that rare Midwestern calm, the kind where life runs at a comfortable pace and nobody's trying to go viral on TikTok outside your window. Even rush hour here feels polite. Annoying, yes, but polite. However, Fishers isn't for thrill seekers. Nightlife is mild. Bars close earlier than you'd expect. And if you're looking for artistic chaos or big city edge, Indianapolis is your only hope. But at least it's close. Still, what Fishers does right, it does extremely right. It's one of the safest, calmest, most predictably solid places you can live in America today. And somehow, even with all that growth, it still feels like suburban life in the late 1980s, steady, friendly, and affordable enough to breathe. If Fishers is the polished, modern version of 80s calm, the next city feels like stepping back in time entirely, but with some of the best schools in the southeast. Number 2, Johns Creek, Georgia. Johns Creek feels like the blueprint for peaceful, upper-middle-class suburban life, the kind Hollywood used in the 80s when they wanted to show the safe neighborhood. Clean streets, golf courses, award-winning schools, quiet cul-de-sacs, family-friendly parks, and a level of safety that makes you wonder if the police are bored on purpose. Median home price lands around $650,000. Yes, pricier than others on this list. But the lifestyle matches it. Median rent? About $2,000 to $2,400, depending on neighborhood. Violent crime? Among the lowest in the entire state of Georgia. Schools? Top 3% nationally. Like, your kid could blink and accidentally end up in AP classes level. But what really gives Johns Creek that 1980s energy is the predictability. Everything works. Everything is clean. Everyone is polite. Aggressively polite sometimes. Front lawns are trimmed to military precision. People jog at 6 a.m. like they're training for a most responsible adult competition. And the calm here isn't accidental. The city was designed to be quiet, truly quiet. Zoning protects neighborhoods from sprawling commercial chaos. Green spaces are maintained like botanical museums. Even weekend traffic feels manageable. Well, mostly. But there are downsides. Restaurants can be expensive. Commutes into Atlanta test your patience and your playlist. And let's be honest, the city is so calm. Some people find it a little too calm. You won't find wild nightlife here unless you count a late Target run. Still, Johns Creek is one of those places where life feels safe, steady, and supportive. The exact vibe of the 1980s, just polished and modernized. If Johns Creek is the prestigious calm, the next city is the masterclass, the suburb that perfected peace, affordability, and quality of life. Number 1, Carmel, Indiana. Carmel is the undisputed king of calm, the Michael Jordan of suburbs. The place where you move if you want safe streets, clean neighborhoods, great schools, and a city that runs so efficiently it feels like it's sponsored by perfection. Median home price sits around $500,000 to $520,000, depending on the neighborhood. Median rent around $1,600 to $1,800. Violent crime? Consistently among the lowest in the Midwest. Schools? Top tier? Infrastructure? Shockingly well designed. Carmel didn't just build a normal suburb, they engineered a suburban utopia. Roundabouts everywhere. Literally over 140 of them. Eliminating traffic lights and creating one of the most fluid driving experiences in the country. Some people hate roundabouts. Carmel residents treat them like a personality trait. The city center. Walkable, clean, artsy, and packed with restaurants that somehow stay stylish without being pretentious. Parks and greenways? Miles and miles of them. Community events? Constant. Carmel feels like a place where stress simply doesn't know your address. Here's the real 1980s energy. Life moves slow. Not sleepy slow, but peaceful slow. Kids play outside. People actually talk to their neighbors. Your morning walk feels like a scene from a sitcom where nothing bad ever happens. Of course, no paradise is perfect. Carmel property taxes will make you sigh. Winters? Cold enough to remind you that happiness has limits. And the HOA energy here can be, let's call it, motivated. But overall, Carmel is the safest, most polished, most peaceful city that still feels like the late 80s. Wholesome, family-friendly, affordable enough to make sense, and modern enough to feel complete. It's the number 1 for a reason. Look, America's fast, loud, chaotic. Most cities are sprinting into the future whether you're ready or not. But these five? Roswell, Overland Park, Fishers, Johns Creek, and Carmel. They preserved something precious. The calm, safety, affordability, and community feel that made the 1980s such a golden era for American living. If you're tired of traffic, noise, ridiculous rents, and endless stress, maybe the 80s weren't just a decade. Maybe they're a lifestyle, and these cities still live it. Before we wrap up, make sure to like the video, subscribe for more real estate deep dives, and let me know in the comments, which of these 5 calm cities would you pick to live in?